I went to a K-pop hair salon.
I was just being jealous when I said you don't look good. I think you look fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Anyway, this is Practical Shooting After Dark. You guys ready to get going?
Yes.
Yes. All right. On deck today, we have Mr. Matt Hopkins.
Glad to be back.
Glad to be back. Yeah, you've
Um,
had it. All right, Matt, turn up your mic a little bit or whatever. Talking to your mic. I don't know what the fuck's going
all
on.
right. What about now?
That's you're now audible, so that's good.
Okay.
You're super
I was,
quiet though.
I was thinking of a joke to make, like Ben put me in timeout or something, but
I had nothing to do with you not being here. You've had other
uh,
things going on.
that's true, definitely.
And from South Korea, where are you now exactly in South Korea,
Yeah.
Kim?
South Korea, Daejeon.
Daejeon.
Daejeon is like, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours from North Korea.
Oh, that's a good place to be.
Uh-huh. 3 hours probably.
I've heard the food's good.
Yes. Definitely good.
Jesus. And from the Great White North of Canada, Mr. Burdat.
Yes, what's up, guys?
Are you snowed in yet, dude?
No, no snow. It's actually it's pouring rain.
Perfect. Lovely
Yeah.
weather always in Quebec.
Uh, I miss Florida already.
Do you though?
Why not? Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I do.
You've had enough, Matt.
9 days was plenty.
Oh, speaking of which, we haven't talked about USPSA Nationals yet. The 9 days of Nationals. We didn't get to talk about it yet on this podcast. So we might as well do that and then get to some listener questions. Does that sound acceptable to you guys?
That sounds
Very
good.
acceptable.
All right. So, since we like to be relentlessly positive here, we don't want to be too spicy. We don't want to offend anybody. So let's talk about first. I'll go around the group, and you guys can tell me what you really liked about Nationals. What you dug. Does that sound good? And
Yes.
then
Yeah,
and
man.
then maybe we'll get to some minor criticisms, some complaints there's things to improve in the future.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Improvements.
improvements, yeah. All
Yeah.
right. I'll start with you, Alex. What did you like about This was this your first USPSA Nationals?
Yeah, it was my first USPSA Nationals,
Oh,
and
okay.
first time in Florida for at this range that I've heard a lot about. So it was crazy, crazy range. I only did the factory nationals. So,
Did he just?
met a lot of people.
I'm
Did I
sorry.
freeze?
I'm sorry. You froze on my end. I think that the problem was my connection briefly. Sorry. You did
Okay.
the
Anyway,
production
yeah,
nationals?
yeah. Production
Yeah.
nationals. And so I got to shoot in different groups than you guys, but it was for me personally, it was a fun experience. Actually, like the match was really, really well run. There was no delays. The field course were interesting, a lot of options, and I didn't get to shoot in front of the sun. Actually, I didn't get blind by the sun at
Nice.
Oh,
all.
you got lucky.
So yeah,
So you had fun and you thought it was well organized. If I'm to summarize,
oh yeah, for sure.
I
Like
speaking for guys who shot all the matches, I think all of them were fairly. I don't think there was any issues with as far as like the squad matrix or the. I mean, even the awards kind of started more or less on time, which is not
yeah,
normal for nationals.
There was one small hiccup on, I think, the first day of the first match, where there was a little backup, but
Who
the first
cares?
day of nationals, it's pretty
Yeah.
normal.
All
yeah, they
right.
Until they
had
figure out how to like
problems.
run all the stages and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's what I heard. But even though, like, even for me, the banquet, the award ceremony was actually just short enough, no bullshit. They had like the little talk and sponsors, and then they went straight up to the awards and then the prize table. And I thought it was pretty neat. I've never seen a prize table that big, actually. So that was quite surprising, and I thought it was awesome.
How deep did they have guns at that match, Matt? You probably know better than any of us.
they had them at least to 22nd.
Whew. That's a fair number of guns.
They had more than that. So
Yeah.
I went to the 3 prize tables for Carry Optics Production L10. Carry Optics, they had probably at least 20 guns deep. Production, they had more than 22. I don't know how many they actually had. And I don't think they had that many on L10. There wasn't a participation there to
To warrant
justify
it.
that.
Yeah. All right, Matt. What did you like about the matches?
I liked how they did the award ceremony. It actually felt like an award ceremony you should attend because it was like an event, not just a side thing after the match.
Yeah.
I thought the 9-day format was interesting and it was very challenging to get through all 3. It was a long 9 days.
Yeah, I can
Like
imagine.
mentally, I was like smoked for the next 2 weeks. And they had water and ice in the cooler, so I was happy with that.
All right, that's good. Should I go? I think I should go before Kim does. What I thought the event, a lot of effort went into it. I think. I mean, just from listening to the kind of the leadership guys talk about it, I think they put a lot of thought into it as far as we're going to run this stage in this match and then change it and run it in the third match, and then we're doing this stage in the second match. I felt it was well organized, and I felt like they did an acceptable job of changing things around for each match. Where it, aside from the classifier stages of the Virginia count nonsense, everything else changed enough that it felt more like just shooting on the same range. It didn't feel like exactly the same match, or stuff changed enough that it was interesting to me. I mean, my perspective on it, that was a big concern going in. It's like, hey, how much of this is going to change? How much is going to be different? Are you just shooting the same match 3 times? And it didn't quite feel that way. So that was okay. All right, Kim,
Yep.
what'd you like?
So I shot all 3,
You did.
and I think the concept of shooting all 3 was very interesting to me, because more shooting, more fun. So, but it was tough, like Matt said. And also before I went to the match, I was really worried how they will change all the stages and like how to work 22 stages on all the nationals. But they did really a good job of changing the stages and stuff. And one stage I shot that was the same stage for both optics and limited, but only the change was starting position. Optics started all the way back, and the limited started all the way front. So both are it was a kind of shooting on the move type of stage, but only because you start in the front versus starting in the back, it really changed the game and how it felt when I actually shoot it. And I thought that was really good job on that stage design, and just not changing target or anything like that, but only by changing the starting position, it just totally changed the game, like shooting on the move backward or shooting on the move forward kind of decision. And then there were some stages that didn't have a lot of options, which I really liked in this kind of match, where I can't really do a walkthrough for another nationals because I shoot PM for optics and I'm shooting production the next day kind of thing. So I thought some stages had options, of course, but I really liked how there wasn't any memory type of stage, and that made the life easier and the speed of the match pretty consistent too. And Alex mentioned about field courses. I thought field courses were kind of interesting on some level. Like I've shot the double swinger. That was really interesting. I never really shot double swinger in the low port ever. It was my first experience. So there was like what is the term? I don't know. English is not my first language, right? So I would say I broke my virginity on that low port double swinger. Is that the right expression? I
That's
don't know.
right.
Yes.
I think we
Yeah,
understand.
English is not my first language.
All right. So that's what we liked. If you have any complaints, criticisms, stuff that you didn't like, maybe just stuff you didn't like, this is a good time. to discuss it, so we'll go back around. Mr. Alex, what did you dislike?
Virgin account.
Okay,
I
you
would
didn't like
say.
that.
No, yeah. Well, in a IPSC, we don't have these anymore, and I think like forcing you to like mandatory reload and Virgin accounts and classifiers should be just they should just go away. But that's just my opinion. But honestly, I know what they were trying to do with all those classifiers. I have nothing against that, honestly. But
What do you mean?
having like classifier stage at nationals, that was not my biggest problem. What I didn't like is that most classifiers were working the same skill sets. So there were two classifiers that you shot like six targets, move to another box, shoot strong end, and then do the same thing and shoot weekend. So there's like they were basically almost the same, it's just different distances. So, like, but essentially they're working the same skills of reloading and shooting strong end and shooting weekend, one per target, and then they just calculated everything. Uh, I don't know, there was a lot, so it's just like repeating itself every day. Um, some classifier stages were interesting, so I have nothing against that. But yeah, that was my biggest. I
Okay.
was just like, okay, like get up the chair and shoot 6 rounds. Like, all right.
All right, Mr. Matt, what did you dislike? And I imagine that we're going to probably have some overlap here.
I disliked no breaks between the matches. It bunched everything up the night of the finish day before the start of the next day.
Yeah.
But if they would have done that, it would have been 11-day nationals, not 9. So 9 is actually expecting a lot from people.
Yeah.
If you added 2 extra days, like there wouldn't be no one would probably be able to even shoot all 3. Dislikes? I can't think of really anything else.
Okay. I'll go now then.
Okay.
I disliked the core concept, the format, and the stages. If I'm being honest.
So what's left? Ice, water.
They had ice water. Um, well, to me, the match is the stages. So that's what I care most about, and I'm with Alex. Like, if Virginia count went away at level 2 matches and above, like I would be cool with that. I would like not even cool with that. It'd be like, okay, that'd be super if that went away. It's not a thing in IPSC anymore, and I would have liked to see if they're designing new classifiers. I'd like to see them be new, actually new. So, for example, if you're going to have guys move from box to box, like maybe not mandate a reload. You know what I mean? Just like, hey, just shoot some stuff from here, shoot some stuff from there. Like, could have made it more interesting. That'd be stuff I'd like to see. I don't think you need to have Virginia count classifiers. I think they could do more Comstock stuff. But I didn't like all the box shooting stuff, and I think 3 matches back to back. I mean, the diehard people liked it. I think the ROs did not. I think most people were pretty tired at the end of it. I didn't do all 3. I only did two of the matches, and that was more than enough for me. So they're kind of in a weird position now where 8 divisions is too many for 1 match. They would say it's maybe too many for 2 matches. So they kind of have to split it to 3, and then it turns into too many days and that kind of a thing. It'd probably be best to do a 3-day match, a day off, and a 3-day match if they're going to do a big event. You know what I mean? That would probably be better. I appreciate that they tried it. I mean, it was interesting. Wansik had a lot of fun, but I think most guys were pretty smoked by the end of it.
But they're gonna change it for next. Right?
Yeah, next year it'll be 2 different events, but like 4 matches.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll be 3 break 3 each match.
Yeah, it makes more sense next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I think, a bit better. So, yeah, that'd be my criticisms of it. Is get rid of Virginia count is what I would say for level 2 matches. I just don't. It's like
I mean,
lame to
isn't
me.
it
I don't
supposed
get
to
it.
be freestyle?
Well,
And the
not
other
like-
thing is,
no.
so the problem I had with that, I'll add on to it. They actually had a stage that duplicated field course skills really well, and they made it Virginia count. So they had like shooting left, center, right, skipping a target, doing a reload, and then shooting.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one was actually the most like, I guess, field course type classifier stage they had, but they made it Virginia count when they're trying to depict like Comstock stages and skills. That's the one I had a problem with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. The shooting challenge for those stages is fine. I mean, the shooting part's the shooting part. It's just like the lamest stage design. I want to go to nationals and have it be the most interesting stages instead of go there and it's like this is the least interesting stages I've
Well,
seen.
the way classifiers have to be set up and you have to measure everything out,
Yeah, I
they
don't.
kind of
That's
dictated.
not
to
my
the-
problem at nationals. I don't care. I do not care.
That's just a excuse for them, I guess.
Whatever. Anyway, Mr. Kim.
Yes. So I totally agree with the Virginia count stuff going away. Oh, that'd be really nice. And another thing was there was I forgot. I think it was 6 classifiers or something close to that number. Out
I think
of
they're going to
21.
get 8 out of it.
8. Okay. And I think I remember at least 2 stages, classifier stages that were moving box to box. At least 2 of them had gravels on. So when I shot optics match, my feet were sliding around when I am arriving inside the box. And then the second match, the gravel was getting away. And then the third match, gravel was gone in the box. And also now there were like divots and pits inside. So there was dips and stuff. So it wasn't executed consistently. So if it's a classifier and they are trying to gather information about that classifier, I really think they should get it consistent so that they can actually shoot in the same condition at least. Or
Why
good
would that
condition.
matter though?
Because, like I said, if your feet are sliding around when you enter a box, then you cannot shoot accurately as fast
Yeah,
as
of
you
course. But
can.
if it's a classifier, you could set it up on a bay with grass. You can set it up with gravel. It could be raining. It could not be. It's never going to be consistent.
True.
But okay.
Yes.
All right,
That
guys.
one was one of the. And I have one more.
Okay.
And then, one thing was the stages, the balance of the stage as a whole match. I don't think it was really good. So like having classifier a couple stages, and then just big field courses, and like it's really hard to find a good medium course kind of thing.
Oh,
So in
yeah.
terms of the balance.
Oh, you mean it was either Virginia count or like classifier looking stages or long courses with not a lot in the middle.
Exactly.
I suppose that's fair to say. Yeah, that's true. There wasn't a lot in the middle.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a couple listener questions, because I know you guys love that. Okay. I don't, actually, the first question I pulled up, I don't really understand what this guy's asking, so I'm going to read it. I think he's trying too hard. Okay.
At the question,
Maybe
Yeah,
both.
I'll read it. He's trying too hard. I was at your class in SAC a couple weeks ago, and while it was a lot of fun, it was also kind of depressing. And that now I know better what to look for, I can see both how terrible I actually am and how much of a shit show has been burned in. So my question is, what's the best way to undo the damage? I've been shooting matches 2 to 4 a month and occasionally once a week average live fire practicing for about 2 years, just token efforts at dry fire. Yours was the first competitive focus class I've taken. I won't bother with the laundry list of freak show bad habits I've burned in, but instead I want to know how best to deprogram the bad and program the good. It was clear to me is that the moment the timer goes off, I revert to the bad habits. If I force myself to think through each thing, I slow to a crawl. That sucks since I'm already too slow. I see now how guys end up being in C for 20 years. I'm not satisfied with that prospect. I'm willing to work. I just don't want to make this any worse. Should I accept that I'll have to slow down and be even crappier for a while? Since that seems wrong to me. That seems wrong to me, but I think I can make myself do it if it would work. Okay, so there we go. That's the thrust of the question. I just kind of skipped some of the stuff at the end. That was kind of strange. Okay, so that's the question. How we're going to deprogram bad habits and program in good ones. Who wants to field this one?
I
Anybody?
can go. I can
Of
go.
course, if you're always game,
Yes.
you're always down. You're like, yeah, let's
Okay.
go. Let's
Yes,
do it.
let's do it. So the first year of my practice, it was very, I would say conventional practice. What I mean by conventional practice is I buy stuff like this book and that book. I bought 3 dry fire books, and then I try to follow them and just do repetition kind of thing. And that was in the beginning was pretty helpful, but then after a year, I was coming to a place where I am doing reload when it's not necessary, like because every time I move in dry fire, I was reloading kind of thing, or I was able to draw under a second if I am just facing straight, hands down. But if I need to turn or something, when I have to adopt and try to change the break the habit and adopt to a new situation, I couldn't do it. So basically, when I do a lot of repetitions, I am building habits to do what I do in the dry fire when I go to matches. So I was having a lot of habits, and I decided those habits, even they are good, and I can draw and reload magically in a classifier type of shooting situation, those habits actually became bad in certain scenarios. So I made a thought, hey, I want to get rid of all the habits and then create only one habit that's going to help me, which was started creating the habit of visualizing and doing a walkthrough and then only executing what I visualized. So I started dropping habits of drawing in a certain way kind of thing. Every time I move kind of habit, I just get rid of every single habit and just focus on one habit, which is walk through and visualize, execute what I did. So in my dry fire and live fire or matches, I actually did walk through and visualizing what I'm gonna do, even if it's one single draw in dry fire. So if I want to do 10 repetitions, I would at least do a couple visualizations on the first couple runs and then maybe no visualization at the end. But that was my development of not creating any bad habits or
All right,
good
so
habits.
let's cut to the quick here for this. For
Yes.
somebody who's trying to change their habits, what do you want them to do?
So in their practice, they should do walkthrough and visualize kind of thing, and then actually draw and execute.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, that's a conscious effort to change what you're gonna do next on the next move. So make the conscious effort.
I think I
What
might
I'd
be
s-
able to explain it a little easier for everybody.
Well, I can tell you guys what I do when I change stuff in the off season is I make a list of all the techniques I want to change specifically. Grip position, grip pressure, reload position, blah blah blah. Just make a list. And then I systematically work on those changes where it's like I will do practice thinking about that one thing. You know, I'm going to reload the gun holding it here instead of there. I'll do like 15 minutes, 20 minutes just thinking about that one thing and systematically work through that list and work on it for, 3 months, 4 months until I don't have to think about those things anymore and they start happening on their own. And that's how you squish those bad habits is you systematically, one at a time, as a part of regular training, you're thinking about the thing that you want to be doing. It's not so much, hey, don't do this. It's more you give yourself a thing to do and you think about doing it and you repeat it over and over and over again until you find yourself doing it without thinking about it. That is really the only way to change stuff. And it helps to keep a list because that gives you the reminder of like, hey, oh, I want to be changing the way I'm setting up in position, or I want to be, holding the gun this way. I want to be making sure I'm looking at the center of the targets and I'm aiming at them, that kind of stuff. It's very helpful to systematically work through it. And yeah, this guy's seeing how much work that's going to be. And yep, it's going to be a lot of work. It's maybe a little depressing, to be honest, but that's the way it's going to go. Okay.
Pretty much.
Alex, you have anything to add to that?
No, well, it's pretty much covered. It's through deliberate, conscious thought, training, practice, and repetitions.
Absolutely.
It's just, I mean, I've had to change bad habits myself, and I got to change it throughout maybe like a month of just every day, like training and thinking about doing the right stuff until it became subconscious.
Good. I've got one more question, Alex, and this seems made just for you.
Oh, shit.
It is. All right, so this guy's question is about shooting IPSC versus World Shoot versus USPSA. So 15 round magazines. I think he's talking about production versus 10 round magazines.
Okay.
This guy says he's from Canada. We have a 10 round mag limit, so all of our IPSC divisions are 10 rounds. But when we shoot outside Canada, things change. May I ask, what needs to be added to training so I can adapt to different mag capacity? So this is an issue you've run into, like when you go to Europe.
Yeah. Well, like just like Kimi said, like you'll just in Canada, we're so much used to reload every time we move because we're always shooting 8 or whatever, and we move, we have to reload since we're shooting 10 round capacity.
Yeah.
So even when we get to Europe, we start counting, and it's just like, even if we count and we say, okay, we're gonna reload here, shit happens and we reload for no reason. So that happened to me, like last year as well. It tends to not happen as much anymore because in my training, I'll train a lot more about moving from position to position without reloading. So in a match, I'm not going to think about reloading every time I move. I'll think about reloading after this position. So when I'm done shooting here, that's where I reload. So that's through visualization again in your walkthrough.
Frenchies.
You wanna, yeah.
Sad.
So it's just a matter of training yourself to do only, like, consciously think about what you're gonna do in your walkthrough and visualize it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Don't think about subconsciously reloading every time you move because shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. There's one other thing I'll probably put in there is I give myself permission to shoot extra shots a little bit more freely in IPSC matches, especially with a lot of moving targets and steel and that type of shit. It's okay to squirt bullets a little more shooting production than in the U.S. where a lot of times we're running really tight with the round count.
Yeah.
But that's not usually the situation in Europe.
Well, I gotta say, like, I'm gonna stir the pot here, but shooting production 15 with in IPSC context with like short courses is a lot of fun. Like,
how does that stir the
12
pot?
round stage. No, I just know in the US it's a big thing. They like to talk about.
They like to argue about it, yeah. But
I find it fun.
15 round production on a lot of 12 round stages is cool. Like, it's fun.
It changes the dynamic.
Yes, definitely. But people argue about it in the U.S. about changing the round count, but not really about changing the stages. So
No.
to me, it
So,
seems like what difference does it make?
yeah, they're gonna reload like 2 times anyways, so.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. Not to me, anyway. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us or joining me, so we can have a podcast for the people and they can have a thing to listen to. So thank you so much, listeners. If you have a question you'd like the answer to, go to benstecker.com, send me your question, and I'm sure we'd be happy to address it. I would, for sure, definitely. All right.